I know that there are multiple different meanings. It's like everything else in the world, it seems it's on a spectrum. That there are varieties of what it is.
There are, of course, different forms of polyamorism. There's polyamory, which is kind of just encompassing all of it, but there's three forms underneath that, which is polygamy, one man, many wives, polyandry, one woman, many husbands, and kind of like a group marriage where the people who are originally married are also married to the others, and those ones are also married to each other. So you have like this square or whatever shape you have of everybody, of the number of people participating who are all married to each other. There's also the open relationship where it's you and your specific person, but the other person can go, one of the people can go off, or both people can go off and have relationships with others in the sense of more sexualized, and then still be able to come home to their number one, and it's just the two of them, while the others aren't really having any kind of strings attached. So what do you know about polyamorous relationships?
I know that with polyamory, trust and openness and honesty are the most important things, and that it can take place between two people or as many people as the people are okay with.
Polyamorous relationships are quite unique in the fact that it's not just one man, one woman, or one man, one man, or one man, or one woman, one woman, but it's multiple people all together in a relationship of a sort where it's not just the two of them, it's other people that they have pulled in with them with the consent of everybody who's within the group.
Most people, when they hear polyamory or polyamorous relationships, think of dating or being in a relationship with more than one person.
Polyamorous relationships are difficult for the fact that you do have to be completely open with how you feel about yourself and about somebody else, and you have to sit down and communicate. Communication is key in a polyamorous relationship. You have to be able to talk about your feelings, be able to talk and understand what other people are feeling within the relationship, be able to sit and talk and be like, okay, well, if you want to be with this one person, well, let's set up some rules. It's just so that way they know that I'm here and that you love me, and then this way it can kind of help with probably the jealousy or the envy that I personally could be feeling. Polygamy is one man with not just one wife, but with two or even up to four sometimes, or even more. There's also polyandry, which is one woman with many husbands. It's not as common, but it's still there. I know that there are also other types of relationships within the polyamorous spectrum, in that being, there's one where it's going to be one man with many men, which is kind of the relationship me and my boyfriend are going to be having, due to the fact that, you know, it's he and I, and if we do a polyamorous relationship, which we're thinking of doing, it'll of course be with other men. There's also the flip side of that, which is one woman with many other women, which of course they have their own kind of spectrum within that. However, everybody has to be consenting adults. Why do you think society finds poly relationships to be a bad thing?
Because they don't understand. Same reason they don't like everything else. I mean, they look at it and they only see, oh, this guy or this chick is with like 15 people. They see it as, oh, they just want some. They're a thirsty whore.
That society is uncomfortable with polyamorism and polyamorous relationships due to the fact that it's not part of the monogamistic teachings that we've had as we've grown up. Back in history, we used to be polyamorous. It was still acceptable. Now everybody's kind of waiting for their Prince Charming or their Cinderella, just their one specific person, and you know, not their 7 dwarves that would take care of them and love them and whatnot.
And in fact, in ancient Greek and Roman times, men would have sex with their concubines, with their slaves, which included men and women, and several other different people who were below their status, because it wasn't a sexual pleasure thing, it was a power dominance thing.
I don't know, because people are just discriminatory.
Yeah,
and it just
that's
sucks.
the thing. Our society is one that if they don't understand it, they don't want to learn, and they automatically start to hate it. Hate is only because of fear. If
And
you don't
people
fear
the
something,
unknown.
exactly. If you actually sit down and learn about something, it won't be unknown anymore, and you won't have the knee-jerk animalistic reaction to hate it and to run from it. It's how our society is built.
What do you think society would do if polymarriages were to become legal?
Fight it.
It'd be the same thing as gay marriages. People would fight it, but it's not really...
There's no reason to fight
There's
it.
no backlash as to, oh, these two gay men got married. Oh no, they're going to destroy the world. No, really. That's not gonna happen, guys. Two gay men are gonna get married and it's gonna go back to being the same thing.
They're gonna be too busy making apple pie to care.
I believe that it would end up being kind of similar to homosexual marriage right now. You would have a ton of people going against it, but over time you would start getting more and more people interested in learning what it is and starting to help stand up for it. A lot of people feel that they shouldn't be discriminatory towards other people's love and allowing them to marry whomever they want. I personally am like that. I don't feel like I should stop other people from marrying who they love. And a lot of people would be like that. So we'd have probably a lot of allies, but it wouldn't necessarily be people from within the polyamorous relationship. Do you plan on having children?
Has been spoken of, but I'm not really sure.
I'm not 100% positive.
Doesn't scare me.
Children scare me as well.
Right.
That honestly, I am currently 17 and she is 20. And honestly, in my perspective, we're both a little bit too young to necessarily be heavily thinking about having children at this point.
I personally am wanting to have children. I don't know if my mate does yet or not. We're still having to talk about that. But that's still down the road. I mean, I'm only 20. So if you do end up with a child, would you tell them about your type of relationship?
Yes.
Like, sit them down and explain it to them.
Yes.
And especially if you guys do a poly relationship, will you sit down and explain that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, my mom.
Why would I lie to my own child?
Yeah, I would want to explore different aspects with my children.
If we have children, I am wanting to talk to them about the kind of relationship that my boyfriend and I have. Because for one, we're homosexuals. So that's one thing that is kind of out of the norm. Another thing would be if we did a polyamorous relationship, that's completely out of the norm of today's current status quo. And so I'd sit them down and talk to them about what it's like for a man to love a man or for a woman to love a woman. And how it is that we don't have to love just one person, that we can love multiple people.
My mom told me when I was a kid, I knew she had my dad, and then she had her 3,000 boyfriends. I didn't care. Dude, meant more chances for me to get spoiled and get candy. I didn't care.
Kids, I don't think they'd really see it as a bad thing. I mean, I'm not going to raise my child to be prejudiced, so why should I withhold information about myself? I'm not ashamed of myself.
I'd rather they know and not like it than not know and just hate it on general purpose.
Yeah. I'd rather they learn it from me than on the streets.